China-US trade tensions have been heating before the US president's first visit to China. The timing couldn't be worse as the world sees cooperation between Beijing and Washington as crucial to nurturing the recovery of the global economy. This China's Zhang Junfeng explains how trade disputes have escalated and how they could be prevented from bringing global consequences.
The trade dispute upgraded in September when the Obama administration announced extra duties on Chinese tires. Tensions intensified earlier this month when the U.S. slapped anti-dumping tariffs of up to 99% on Chinese oil well pipes, a trade worth $3.2 billion annually. China protested by branding the decisions an abuse of protectionism. John Watkins, chairman of the American Chambers of Commerce in China, says he understands China's reaction and explained that the U.S. moves were due to domestic pressure.
And I can understand fully how that would hurt the feelings of the Chinese people. So clearly we have to understand that and recognize that. I think what's also important to understand is that the leaders of all governments respond both to domestic pressures, domestic political pressures, as well as international political pressures. And it's the tough job of all government leaders to balance those pressures.
Chinese experts share this understanding. Tu Xingquan, a WTO expert, says U.S. moves were more likely due to the financial crisis rather than the policy of Obama's administration.
The U.S. economy is really experiencing great difficulties, and we all know that the U.S. unemployment rate reached as high as 10%. It's very phenomenal, I think. So a lot of U.S. industries have their own problems, so they resort to their government to ask for help and exerting heavy political pressures on the U.S. government.
Having to choose between domestic interests and a key international relationship, Obama went with the former. But questions remain as to why China appeared to be targeted as the main culprit of anti-dumping. John Watkins says China was not singled out.
President Obama has. On the trade issues, we have a very big trading relationship. In these kinds of relationships, there's always going to be friction. China has trade disputes with the EU and with other countries. The United States has trade disputes with Canada, with the EU and other countries. So these kinds of things are quite normal in the relationship.
Although trade volume between China and the U.S. declined 12% the first 3 quarters this year compared to the same period last year, the U.S. remains China's largest export market, and China continues to be the second largest trade partner of the U.S.
The top priority, I think, for both governments is to work together to get our economies, as well as the world economies, out of recession as soon as possible. This will in turn reduce the protectionist pressures on both governments. I think this will be better for both governments.
The relationship between China and U.S. may be the world's most complicated, but no matter how much misunderstanding and friction there may be, the two countries remain dependent on each other. As the leaders of both countries have said, cooperation, not confrontation, is the solution. Zhang Junfeng, CCTV, Beijing.